put out my hand and said, "Hi, I'm Linda." And he said, "Hi, I'm Stanley and I'm married." And I looked at him and I said, "Oh my gosh, I thought you were gay. And I thought this was your boyfriend." The man he was with said, "No, I'm his son." And we immediately all liked each other as he explained to me that these particular pants were decorated and created specifically for him by Elton John's designer. And the Louboutin shoes he'd had for many years. I found him fascinating. His son explained to me that he's an artist and would I like to see a piece that he had just finished. It's an absolutely gorgeous painting of the Whiskey A Go-Go on the Sunset Strip. And I said, "How fascinating. My daughter, who's being honored tonight, is giving an event at the Whiskey A Go-Go in 2 months. Maybe she could auction it off, give you your price, and the rest of the money could go to her group." The son and my daughter exchanged information. Then it was time for everyone to go and sit down. So I said, "It was lovely chatting with you," and went and enjoyed the rest of the evening. And then 5 or 6 months went by, and I really didn't give it much more thought. During those 6 months, the son had contacted my daughter. He let her know about any art shows or things that he was participating in case she wanted to buy any art. Most of the emails he sent went unopened. But every once in a while, she would open an email and see what his latest piece was. In any case, one of those days came up about 5 or 6 months after we'd met, and it was the son reprimanding my daughter for not having gotten back to him. She went back and looked at the previous emails where he had been asking for my contact information for his father. Long story short, she gave me his information. I called and he said, "I've been trying to reach you for 3 months. I want to introduce you to a very close friend of mine whose wife passed away. He hasn't been out of the house, hasn't gone out on a date. And you're really a wonderfully charming and interesting woman. And I thought maybe the two of you should meet." And I said, "Oh, well, that's a lovely idea." So we set up a lunch and we were going to discuss David further, who was to be my future date. He picked a wonderful restaurant. We sat there for 3 hours and we both were a bit flabbergasted because it was hard to imagine that there was somebody else walking around in this world who was so similar to you. He was like me wearing a man's clothing. It was just otherworldly. And at the end of the lunch, he said, "I have a confession to make."